Jesus. Let me work this out for you a little bit. They were stuck on the miracles that he was doing. You ever been in a place where you saw some stuff happening and you wanted to happen to you, but you really didn't know what was really happening? You walk in and you see that everybody's getting hooked up, but you don't know what they paid for. You walk in and you're walking in, and as you're coming out, everybody's bobbing out and they smile and just dancing and doing this, but you don't know what they gave up to get what they did. You just want some. They were praising the King who was the miracle worker, but they didn't realize that he was the Son of God. They wanted to take what was on the cover without reading the book. They believed in what happened, but they didn't believe in how it happened. So what is Palm Sunday all about? Palm Sunday is about the fact that Jesus came that we would have life and have it more abundantly. Palm Sunday is about the fact that Jesus came. He came down from heaven. He did not do it. Jesus came down because he loved us so much that if we believe in him, we should not perish, but have life everlasting. He came because he knew that for years and centuries and decades and just centuries before, that although we knew how to behave and what to do, we just couldn't get it together. Hold on, way back to Adam and Eve. Hook Adam and Eve up with a perfect garden, with everything that was just beautiful and gorgeous. If you like snow, it snowed all the time. If you like summer, it was always sunny. If you like rain, it always rained. All in the same place. If you like to eat fresh fruit and fresh vegetables, if you like to just eat off the ground, you can do all that. Except for one little area. And just like us, where do we go? To the one little area. Wondering why our life is all jacked up. Because we keep going to the area that says do not enter. Under construction. Stay away. Hazard to your health. It's poisonous. That's the only place we want to go. And so Jesus, time and time again, God was singing. Angels and Jesus and God came down himself and said, oh my goodness, here we go again. I just told you yesterday, don't do that if you did it again. But I love you so much that I'm going to straighten you out. Okay, don't go this way, go this way. Here we go. Palm Sunday is about the fact that no matter how many times we mess up, that God loves us so much that he will go to the nth degree, not only to show us, but to do it. Not only to talk about it, but to do it. Palm Sunday is the fact that Jesus, in all his divine royalty, said that I'm going to ride in on you. Because I don't want people to think I'm all high for little. That I'm all that. Because I got alphabet soup behind my name. Because I got more titles than I got names. Jesus rides in on a donkey and said, you need to realize who I am. It's not about everything that I do. It's about who I am. There's a little story that's going around. You may have heard it before, but young college student, was leaving home. And the college student was from the South. And let's imagine that the college student was coming from Arizona. And the college student was coming from Arizona, coming up Beantown, Boston. Derek, have you been to Boston before you came up here? Never been here before. So the students' family packed in a little knapsack or tin, right? Y'all know what little tins were, right? Family made some fried chicken and some cornbread and some biscuits and put it in that tin, right? And wrapped it up in aluminum foil, right? And put a couple of napkins in there, right? A little cold, little sweet water on the side, a little jug, right? day they saw an older gentleman who was sitting there, and he was on one bench, he, the other person on the bench, and they were just looking at each other, until he grabbed his tin and walked over and said, "Sir, I'm lost." And the older gentleman said, "You know what, I am too." And they looked at each other and said, "You know what, why don't we just be lost together?" The young man looked at the older gentleman and said, "You know what, you look a little parched." The older gentleman said, "I am." He said, "Let me share my sugar water, my sweet water with you." And the older gentleman gave the biggest, brightest smile this young man had ever seen. And it warmed his heart. So then the young man looked at the older gentleman and said, "You know what? Big Mama and them made me some food." Y'all know Big Mama and them, all right? It ain't just she, it's them, right? Big Mama and them, all right? All of them. And he said, I know it's more than I can manage myself. Would you care to have a bit?" The gentleman said, "You know, man, I haven't eaten in 2 days." And he gave another big, huge, glimmering smile. And the young boy began to get teary-eyed. And so they sat and they talked and they ate and they drank and they sat and they talked until the sun began to come down. To the point where the young man said, "You know what, I need to go try to figure out where I'm supposed to be." So he gave the man a big handshake. The man stood up and gave the young boy a big bear hug. And he said, "You don't know what you just did for me." Young man went and found his way over there on East Charles Gate, somewhere over there. Older man went home. When the young man got to this place, met new roommates. They said, "Well, how was your trip?" And the young man forgot everything that happened until he met that older gentleman. And he said, "Y'all don't believe me, but I think I just met God." And they were like, "What are you talking about?" He said, "There was something about his smile that just permeated my heart and made my innerness melt." And he said, "I had always heard about that from Big Mama and them. They would say, always be careful about who you meet and how you conduct yourself, because sometimes you may be entertaining angels." But he said, "This wasn't no angel, this was God." And the young people just sat there. The older gentleman went home. And his son came and opened the door. He said, "Dad, what happened to you?" And the older gentleman said, "You know what? I just had a meal with God." And the young man said, "What are you talking about?" And he said, "I have never, ever in my life experienced so much generosity that was sincere, that was endearing, that was almost passionate. I met this young man and he shared with me a home-cooked meal. He didn't know me from anybody, and we just sat talking. We feel like we know each other now, and I just feel like it was the presence of God." That, my friends, is what Palm Sunday is really about. Knowing that no matter what your past has been, that God still loves you, and He is willing to ride in on you just to share